Welcome to our channel, Floating Along. I'm Lisa,
And I'm Darren.
and along with our two dogs, Pumpkin and Harry, we've decided to capture our lifestyle change from living on land
To living full-time on and travelling along UK inland waterways.
Join us to see what we get up to.
Hi folks.
Hi.
Right, I know you're all going to wonder, and I'm sure you're asking yourselves, how have we ended up right here, right now, in this situation? Well, we had a 4-bedroom home, a lovely semi-detached home, but when you know it's not right and you want something else, you have to make plans of how we've got from a very large 4-bed semi down to currently a 30-foot narrowboat with a very small 75-foot square storage unit. So I think the key word for today is sacrifices. Wouldn't you agree?
I would, yes. Complete lifestyle change.
There were culls. There were culls on top of culls. So an initial cull of, like you would when you clear out your loft, clear out the garage, the shed, and then look at it again and think, right, would that go on a boat?
Nope.
Do I need it on a boat?
Nope.
Would I like it on a boat? Doesn't matter. We culled and culled and culled. And don't forget, we run a craft business as well. So Lisa's had to make some horrible sacrifices of crafting material. We car booted a lot of stuff. We gave a lot of stuff away on Free Cycle and the local Free Cycle Facebook groups. We gave an awful lot to charity shops. We sold quite a lot of stuff. You'd be surprised at how much you have knocking about that's actually worth some money.
Yeah, I think we probably got rid of about 95% of our belongings.
Yes.
Tools.
Yep.
Or tat. He has tools, I have tat.
I had a workshop full of tools for my job, and they were all condensed from a very large domestic garage, basically, as well as a very long wheelbase van, all condensed to less than half of a long wheelbase van to still make me functional for work.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's been some huge changes. So
that was a hard decision for you, wasn't it?
Was.
In terms of what tools
it was
to
because
keep.
One of my hobbies also went, but we'll come to that in a later vlog. But as a little exercise for yourselves, think of your home and your lives as they are now, and cut 95% of your material possessions out. And if you think you're ready for the boat life, with that 5% remaining, then welcome on board. But you have got to make some serious sacrifices. When you think the amount of wardrobe space we had available, the amount of clothes that we have given away and just got rid of, perfectly good clothing got rid of.
Each time I culled, I probably filled several bin bags at a time.
Each time you called,
Some things I could sell, a lot of things I gave to a local charity shop. And yeah, just when you think you're making progress, there's always more that you can get rid of. But you know, whether it's your wardrobe, whether it's your tools, whether it's, because for me crafting isn't just a hobby, it's also well, between us we run Blackbird Country Crafts, which is a small sort of crafting business where we sort of upcycle and repurpose things, but also I make and sew from scratch as well using new materials. So it's a combination really. It's been going for several years, but what to do is try and build that business on the towpath as well. So we've got plans of being roving traders and attending sort of craft events and festivals throughout the year, trading from the towpath where the footfall allows as well. So when Darren referenced the culling and the sacrificing of materials and potential projects from my craft room, where you know I was very privileged and I had a big box room which was tailored to my crafting needs, and you know probably got rid of 90% of the things.
Easily, yeah.
it was great because some local charities who make and craft for charitable purposes benefited from that, so they gladly took things off my hands. But you know, we've basically been able to sort of condense that to a series of boxes, storage boxes. So those boxes are either going to be kept in a vehicle or kept on our boat, you know, materials to make things in the future, but also some stock items as well. So that was one thing. Obviously tools, you've already explained about
Yes.
how deciding what tools you keep will influence what types of jobs you can then provide as a service.
One of the biggest influences for me, and to enable me to slow my life down a lot, was to decide which jobs I really enjoyed doing and which jobs I had tools for that were a chore. And I didn't particularly like doing those jobs, but you do them because at the end of the day, you've got bills to pay. So I cut out the tools for the jobs that I dislike, which is quite nice to tell someone, I'm sorry, I can no longer do that work as I no longer have the tools. So that's quite nice.
Quite liberating.
At times, yes. It's about running through a market square with no clothes on. If I'm honest.
Please don't.
Going forwards, once we purchase a bigger boat, and there is some news towards the end of this video regarding another boat, we will have a small amount of storage in my van for personal use and for the craft business. We will have, with very kind consent of my in-laws, Lisa's parents, an area of their loft where we will have the advantages of being able to put our summer clothes and swap out with our winter clothes, and family memories, photo albums,
items,
things like that, things that you really wouldn't want on a boat if anything, touch wood, the worst should ever happen. Those little memories from when the kids were young, etc., they're all locked away as safe as can be, as against being on the water with us. Not that we're bad boaters, but I'd rather they just weren't on the water.
You just don't know, do you?
You never know. You just never know what's going to happen.
It's like, in terms of those sort of cherished items that, you know, that we're storing at my parents' loft, people often ask us as well, of late, well, what are you doing for post? What are you doing for mail? What address are you using? So we're quite fortunate for correspondence purposes. We are using my parents' address. They have no plans to move for the next sort of 5-10 years. So that's the mailing address that we will use for those purposes, driver's license, passport, that sort of thing. So that's been quite a change. I mean, where we're moored temporarily at the moment, because we're going to be here for anything up to 6 weeks, we have the advantage of using the mailing address, the postal address here as well for the odd item. But actually, having gone from, on a daily basis, the pair of us having multiple Amazon parcels to having a complete detox, that's been
make do with what you've got. If you can't make do, then whatever you buy, and this is our philosophy going forward, if we buy something, preferably it has to have more than one use. So if you're buying a small rucksack, you need to be able to justify that. Well, I'll tell you what, we can use it for walking the dogs, we can use it for this, we can chuck it in a pocket if it collapses, so we can go to Sainsbury's or Tesco's. Other supermarkets are available. So we're trying to make sure that whatever we put on to our new boat, once we've found the exact one, and so there is some news going forward on that, it has to have more than one use. We cannot afford the space to have it just sat there looking pretty or for only one purpose. Technically, that's what we're trying to do.
And storage space as well. I mean, we started off with a small 50 square feet storage unit. When our first house sale was going through, that fell through, so we took things out of storage because the long winter. So we then sold subject to contract, so we then sorted out another storage unit, didn't we, which was just a touch bigger, of 75 square feet. Furniture that we've kept at this point in time is 2 armchairs, but we're now umming and ahhing about selling those now. And obviously everything else, if it didn't all fit in of a storage unit, it certainly wasn't going to fit on our future home, on a floating home. So that's the storage unit. So tour as promised, so Darren referenced in our previous video, that we would give you a tour of Kingfisher, which is our 30-foot Springer that we're living on at the moment. So lots of people, friends, family, colleagues have been asking, how are you managing on a 30-foot boat with 2 adults and 2 dogs? We have to be tidy, we have to be organised, which we naturally are anyway. But obviously stepping over each other, stepping over the dogs has been challenging, but we're coping, aren't we?
Yes.
It's only been 2 weeks. I'm saying that. It's only been 2 weeks at this point in time. But we've managed for longer on a holiday, but this is a different mindset
but
now.
we are working. You're not on the boat all the time. Sometimes you're in the office. I'm not working every day because we're more or less swapping over to look after the dogs. So we're finding our feet.
Yeah.
Going forward to future videos, we will go through. I'm not very tech savvy. Lisa's done all sorts of spreadsheets for our budgets, for how much we need to put away for this, that and the other, and we've based a lot of those figures on our experience with Kingfisher over the last couple of years, and taking an awful lot of advice from an awful lot of boaters and some vloggers about what their budgets and expectations are for management, for repairs, and contingencies. And if you don't think you need a contingency plan on a boat, then you're misleading yourself.
Hello, I thought I'd give you a quick tour of the boat. So you can see behind me, and you can see Pumpkin and Harry there. They're on the bed. They've been out for a walk, so they've come back in to rest their little legs. So behind me you can clearly see the bed. So, and then to the side of that is the washroom just here. Behind me here is my little office space. So I'm just going to turn the camera around. The galley here, so which has grocery storage, sink with a twin burner. So we also have a little fridge underneath, and while we're here in the marina, we're taking advantage of being on the shoreline and have a toaster and electric kettle. So the dinette here that my husband built, so basically that's a little dinette, but also it doubles up for me as a little workspace. I've just got the blind down to stop the glare. So that gives you an idea of the space. Optics clearly need refilling. We have, well, the middle section of the boat where we've got our clothing pods. So in here we've basically got clothes, 3 pods each. Yes, the beds, or the bed, oh look at them, comfy doggies. So that's their beds that they have on the floor at night. They don't sleep on the bed with us overnight, they sleep on the floor. And here we have a multi-fuel stove, which we don't currently need at the moment, which is nice. Here we have, with a sliding door, our washroom. So you can see there, hand basin, toilet and towels, etc. So there we have it. Hope you enjoyed that little tour. Bless them, it's a hard life, isn't it? Any questions, please get in touch. Speak to you soon. Bye for now. So, where are we, dear?
Well, we have looked at quite a few boats.
So many.
So many boats. There were some that, I mean, I'd love a trad with a trad engine and an engine room.
I'd like a boatman's cabin.
Yeah, we'd have loved that. But looking at the practicalities, it just didn't suit us. Now
they tended to be 70 feet boats,
yes,
which restricts the navigation, what you can do. Obviously it adds to the maintenance cost and things like that, but for us length wasn't going to dictate in some sense. It wasn't
not
going
100%.
to dictate.
It's our home,
but it had, the space had to work for us.
We weren't really going to fall for the 57-foot myth. You don't really need a 57 footer. If you can go a bit bigger and you can cut off 1 or 2 arms and 1 or 2 navigations, then we're happy to do that. We have to live on that boat. It's not a holiday boat, it's our home.
Yeah. I mean, saying that, you know, the myth of 57 feet, 57 feet suits a lot of people, but again, it comes down to individual preferences, and our preference, our needs
was always going to be bigger.
You know, working and trading and living in the space, it had to work for us. So it's not about, you know, what works for us wouldn't work for somebody else and vice versa. But all, you know, having said all that, we have come across a boat that we like. It was, I flippantly made a remark as we passed it, oh, that'll do.
At that point it wasn't technically on brokerage, it had only just arrived and been cleaned. They hadn't done the spec sheet or anything, but a very kind lady at a brokerage, and we will talk about this in the next video, very kindly let us on board. And I have to say, we've been looking at a lot of boats over the previous few days, and they were all some very nice ones, some not so nice ones. They were all very nice boats in their own right. But I have to say, when we stepped on,
states of repair, and
but I have to say, when we stepped onto this particular boat, she felt like home. And that's how Kingfisher felt when we first stepped on her. We knew we could do something with this. The new boat is not a project, not at all, but she felt like home. And the layout is quite unusual. I've certainly never come across another boat like that, and again we'll discuss that in the next video, once
things have been progressed.
Yeah, T's have been crossed and I's have been dotted.
We've had the survey,
we have,
so we're just awaiting. We've had the preliminary results, verbal results of that survey. We're just waiting for the final report, and then obviously discuss that with the vendor, with the brokerage. But yes, so watch this space. So but it's all exciting. It meets our needs in so many ways,
it does.
but more on that in a future video. So I think that's probably enough for now.
It's enough waffling for now.
So we're still here, 2 and a bit weeks in now. Just, it's all still an adventure. It all still feels very surreal, but it also feels very right.
It's right.
It's
It's not. It's
there's
right.
no element, even when it's chucking it down with rain and we're having to take the dogs out on a you know, cold wet walk. They don't mind really, but no, it all feels right, doesn't it?
It does. We're not trying to romanticize this lifestyle at all. As we promised in our first video, you will get warts and all once we get out and about, and in fact the next video will be more off this boat anyway. You will get warts and all. You'll get the cold hard facts as we found them. Every boater has a different story, and we've talked to many of them. They all have an opinion on whether it's the number one subject, your toilet. There's not many strangers you can walk up to and ask them about their toilet and their toilet habits without offending them. But you can with boaters. We love talking about our toilets.
Anyway, I think we've probably covered enough.
We've covered enough of toilets, yes. So we'll say goodbye for now, and we'll see you on the next one. Please, if you enjoyed this video, I know this one's gone on a lot longer than the previous one, but please do subscribe. There'll be a link button somewhere down there.
It really does help the channel. Please subscribe. Please hit like if you like it. If you've got any questions, please pop them in the comments below. But yes, so again, you know, our videos might not be everyone's cup of tea, but that's fine. So if you don't like what we're doing, then we don't expect you to watch. If you do, then please tell your friends, share, like, subscribe, etc. So anyway, I think that's definitely enough for now. So
see you next time.
Bye for now.
Bye. See you.